Alright, today I show you guys how you can make your own Walmart version of the Fortnite Creative Reboot van. I know, it looks cheap, but it works. That is the most important part. You can go and make it look more beautiful, obviously. But first of all, before I show you guys how you can do it, obviously, we have to test out if it actually works. And obviously, to test this out, we need to, first of all, kill our teammate. So, I'm very sorry, but he needs to go. So, our teammate is gone, and we now have to reboot him. So, let's check it out. We're rebooting our teammate, which is great. You can see the little thing popping up. And our teammate gets rebooted. Great. So it actually works. It is super nice. And fun fact, we can actually give the player a pistol, like it is in the actual real reboot van. So let's go into how to make this. So let's start off by the things that you need. You need a capture area. This one is actually the one that is very important. This is the one that displays how long it would take to reboot your friend or your teammate. Obviously the teleporter to teleport the players around. We need a class selector, which is very important in this scenario because this one actually teleports the player and actually signals the player that he is going to get rebooted. Then we obviously need the Walmart version of a reboot van. You can build it yourself. By the way, this is just a van with I think these are from the Mac gallery, you know, where you can have the Mac. And this is just like one of those things. So just try to be creative, and obviously like a little display here. Just try to be creative. We also need player spawns. These are very important in this scenario. You can do technically one without them, but it's, you know, a different story. And we also technically need a class designer, but you don't need it, just if you want to give the player a pistol. So let's see how you set this up. You start off by having spawn pads for your team. These spawn pads have to be obviously the exact size of your teammates. So let's say we have a duo. We want to have a spawn pad that has a team on it. This is very important. You also want the priority group to primary. I know this is the first time probably you're using this feature, but this one is actually quite helpful now. What this would do is basically it would tell the spawn pads this is the primary spawn pads and only the two players should spawn on these two spawn pads here. And then also you want to disable them when someone spawns on them. All you have to do here is just put in a channel in the when player spawned and then put the same channel in the disable when receiving from. And you want to do the same thing with this one. For the reboot van, you actually don't need much and there's nothing really special happening here. The only thing that you need is very important, the capture area. So in here you have to change can be used for periodic scoring by and none. I don't think this is too important, but leave it to none. Can be captured by team. This is very important. You have to create a lot of these for multiple teams, right? You cannot just use one for all of them. So you have to do, for each team, you have to do a different capture area. So can be captured by team 1, 2, 3, whatever teams you want to, kind of give the option to reboot. Control time depends on you, how long you want to have it that the player needs to stand in the area to respawn the player. And then when control change, transmit on a channel. So obviously this channel needs to be changed for each team. This is very important. But you need to change that to a channel. And then we also need a teleporter on top, which obviously teleports the player on top of the van. This one needs to have a team, obviously target groups to none. If visible, depends on you, it's your choice. And then teleport to when receiving from needs to be on a different channel than this one. So let's go to the magic that is actually happening. So over here we have a little box where the players spawn in if they die. And in this box we have another player spawner. And in this player spawner, you have to obviously have the same team, right? So you have different, kind of waiting rooms for the teammates to be revived. Team 1, priority group to secondary, and then as island spawn, no, that is very important. Alright, so let's come to the magic of the whole thing and the trick why this is working, and that is the class selector. So a lot of you guys probably don't know, but the class selector can actually kind of respawn players and kind of teleport players, which is super cool. We're not going to need the respawn now, but we need to have a new class in here. So the player should be switched to a class and then gets teleported to the teleporter. So you can see that in here, the player gets switched to class 1. The time is instant. Obviously you can have that whatever, but leave it to instant. Clear all items, because obviously you don't want the player to respawn with any items, but the ones that you want to give them, like a pistol or something. Then you want to have the size of the volume should make that like as big as a spawn pad or whatever area you have the players in. Enable during phase is to none. So that is important that this thing is off from the beginning. So no player spawns in there and just gets teleported immediately. That is not what we want. And then what we want to do, and where the magic is going to happen, is we're going to enable it when we reach the 10 seconds on the capture area. So if we capture this thing for 10 seconds here, so you can see if we stand in here for 10 seconds, this thing will activate, right? We have 10 seconds, we stand in here for 10 seconds, and then the controller's changed and channel 1 will be activated. And channel 1 in here is enable when receiving from. So this thing will get enabled if we reach the 10 seconds on this one, and then it will check, oh, there's a player in here, we need to change that player class. And when the class is switched, which is instant, you are going to get teleported to the teleporter, because when class switch, transmit on channel 2. So we have a channel here, and then we get teleported to our teleporter here. And that is how the whole thing works. It is super easy to create. It is super simple. Yes, it is a little bit much to set up because you have to do it for each team. So you have to have different boxes and different spawn pads and different capture areas. Obviously, you can stack them in each other. So if you have different teams, you can just go here and then just like stack them or whatever and have that like different teams or whatever. But in general, this is super easy to make, and it actually doesn't require too many triggers. So if you want to have this in the Zone Wars map, this should be super fine. Okay, one thing which is very important, we are going to switch players to classes. And that obviously means that you cannot have classes in your Zone Wars match. There are a lot of other ways on how you can have like, you know, items granted or whatever, but you should not use classes in this scenario. Or if you want to use classes, you have to use classes that are not in this, you know, selector range or whatever. So also, since we are changing a player to a class, we can give that player actually a class here, and then we can add a pistol to it, like it is in the real Reboot van. So you can actually spawn with the pistol and not be completely blank if they spawn. And that is basically how you can create a Reboot van. It is super simple. And as always, if you have any questions, please ask them in the comments or ask me on Twitter. I try to answer them, but also there are a lot of very smart subscribers of mine, which also will answer your questions. So that is super great. Also, if you want to join the subscribers, you know where to hit the button. And yeah, follow me on Twitter @RichieTunes, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.